Pivotal part of Elden Ring is finding good gear and items to use on a playthrough. Many of these items can be found in chests, looted from enemies, or found in the world. I wanted to see if I could be Shadow of the Erdtree using only loot found on the floor. The rules are simple. Items that are available on the ground, such as armor, talisman, and even smithing stones, are fair game. To make this run a bit more difficult, any and all upgrades must come from using Shadow Realm runes that are picked up. Luckily for me, the DLC introduced some great items that will come in very handy. While perhaps not much of a challenge, I like to call this run a recurring skill issue, as you will come to find out. Without further ado, let us begin. I started this run with a character having completed much of the base game at level 151. Before grabbing the zombie arm, I went ahead and discarded everything in my inventory except for my flasks and magic donkey. While the physic flask is floor loot, only the stat boosting tiers, spiked crack tier, and green spill tier are allowed because the others are found by killing Erdtree avatars. For the sake of fairness, I did not use torrent to do any skips, such as the one around Castle Ensis, to get more fragments before facing any boss. Entering the Shadow Realm, my first order of business was getting some gear and some scabobbles. Luckily, most fragments are found on the floor, so I could at least reach a respectable blessing level by the end of the DLC. Heading north, I grabbed 2 fragments by Freya and Ansbach. Running past Prospect Town, I reached the Church of Benediction, where I can acquire the Oathseeker set and my first weapon, the Pata. While I assume this is a good weapon, I would be limited on smithing stones, so I headed north to the big lake where I grabbed the great katana in front of the sleeping ghost flame dragon. Before facing our first boss, I wanted a couple more fragments and some much needed weapon upgrades. Running through Castle Venus, I grab another skibbity fragment and a somber one in case I find a nice somber weapon to use. Heading to the ruined forge lava intake, I acquire enough stones to get the great katana to plus 10. Getting through Bayle, I found one more fragment and quickly reached the divine beast. Armed with a blessing level of 4 and a plus 10 katana, it was time to test our damage. After having faced the line many times and with different weapons each time, I still think this fight is a blast. He has a pretty complex moveset that is really fun to dodge and learn. Of course, on my last playthrough I didn't dodge at all, so it honestly took some time to actually remember where I could punish and not just keep swinging wildly. I still stand by his lightning phase being very difficult, but I think it's more of a skill issue honestly. A strat I found to work very well was to dodge backwards during lightning and ultimately not really attack, as sometimes your attacks can lunge you forward into one of the lightning strikes. During his ice phase, I found it easier to dodge through him, but I honestly don't really have the timing, and sometimes I would get hit by the ice anyways. Same with the wind phase, which is arguably the easiest. Regardless, after a handful of tries, the furries go down and things are looking good.
Swing. Don't swing. Swing. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Whew. There we go. Those juicy 120,000 runes, goodbye. You will be missed. Greatly.
With the kitty defeated, I stopped in Bayle jail in an attempt to find money, stones, or anything useful.
Perfect. Frozen maggots. That's exactly what I was looking for.
After taking a big pitfall, I wound up with a bunch of jars and I kind of got lost, but did find some smithing 6s, so I guess it was all worth it. After leaving, I decided to head south through Dragon's Pit, and after defeating Dragon Man, I arrived in Charo's hidden grave. The first thing I picked up was the Spirit Glaive, a somber weapon with a unique Ash of War that sends wraiths out to chase enemies, a potential somber weapon I could use. Stopping in the Lamenter's jail for more smithing stones, I came across the sad realization that the jail key is in a chest, and because it is not necessary to progress the main game, I sadly cannot use it. So I leave the jail and head to the Cerulean coast. Here, I find yet another somber weapon, the Spirit Sword, which shares the same Ash of War, but is instead a short curved sword. I also grab 2 more fragments and make my way to the bottom of the fissure to find out I cannot enter until later. So first, I must return and face Rellana to gain access to the rest of the map. Yeah, so when I went into this fight, I honestly thought I would easily be able to beat her and quickly move into Shadow Altus. I was wrong. Very wrong. Just how it would be wrong if you didn't consider subscribing. Anyways, see, I was doing alright damage, and the Bleed and Frost combos at least made up for the lack of weapon levels, but I got humbled.
Why? Why don't I learn? Why don't I learn? Why don't I learn? Why don't I learn?
Biggest skill issue I had faced, and I was stuck here for like an hour before calling it quits and just going to bed. I'm gonna cope and just say I was tired, as it was 2 a.m. and on the next day I had to peep game and lock in. Now there is one move that I honestly just can't dodge in her second phase, and it cost me so many runs. I would consistently get her low, and if she whipped it out, I would just be dead. I really think that thrusting shield tainted me. It was just too good. I mean, not having to actually learn any timings and just keep swinging ruined my perception of how to actually fight these bosses. Regardless, my first attempt of the new day, and she goes down.
Alright, Oh my god. Let's go. First try. First try of the day. First try of the day. Let's go. Oh my god. All it took was a fresh mind, and all of a sudden, this fight just becomes free.
Upon defeating Rellana, the rest of the map is open. With this wonderful news, I can now finally acquire some more upgrades, fragments, and money. For this playthrough, I decided to avoid the main gate as Gloria the Hippo drops 2 fragments, and to avoid accidentally using them, I took the side path through the Bonnie village.
We'll close it.
Making my way through the church district, I stopped at the cathedral where this creepy guy was just waiting. Just like any priest, he wants me to blow some horns, but he didn't really give me a reason. Oh well, we'll do that later. Returning to Shadow Keep, I drain the hot tub water and make my way to this secret church that worships sunflowers. Do you think they have sunflower seeds in the land of Shadow? If so, what flavor is the best seller? Low-key, these guys probably like bacon or some shit. Grabbing the Marika rune and grace for later, I instead head up to the keep. Running through Shadow Keep for the 100th time is like returning through your hometown. Quickly and easily getting through here, I get another fragment, the Pearl Drake Talisman, which should be a much needed upgrade to what I have available now, and the grace in front of Messmer's room. With most exploration done, I stopped in the last 2 forged dungeons to grab enough smithing stones to get to plus 25, and with that, pretty much all of the setup was complete. I also grabbed a 2-headed turtle talisman and a larval tear. I wish I was able to find enough smithing stones to get another weapon upgraded, but I didn't, so while this run does kinda just become a great katana only run, there really wasn't much variety in terms of how many upgrades were available. Regardless, with everything done, I went south and returned to the Stone Coffin Fisher. I think I was just off one this whole run because I died to these funky ass snipers like 80 times. Before long, the voices called for me to jump and I listened. Surprisingly, they weren't malicious, and instead I ran into this cute little guy on his horsey. Turns out he's a bit angry and starts swinging at me. Having holy damage made this pretty easy, and Putrescent Knight has honestly become one of my favorite bosses. He is pretty easy, but the attack combos and design really are awesome. I will say he is pretty skittish and does kinda run around a lot, sometimes making it hard to actually hit him. After defeating him, I speak with Saint Trina and she tells me to kill Mikla the femboy.
You must kill Mikla. Grant him forgiveness.
Before facing another boss, I think it's time for some questing. Blowing the horn in the Cerulean coast, I return to Ymir and he has me hoe out some more and blow another one. Heading back to the Shadow Keep, I open a passageway behind this statue to gain access to the hinterlands. Here, I pass through the peaceful village where Marika grew up and grab a strand of her hair, a completely normal thing to do. After blowing the second horn, I head back to Ymir to complete the quest. My next stop was Commander Gaius. Like the Putrescent Knight, he is also weak to holy and happens to take increased pierce damage from my katana. This guy has grown on me after having learned his charge attack, but there are some moments like how he can instantly charge out of the boar slam that kinda turns the boss and reminds me of Gyobo, and honestly I would have loved for him to have a voice line as he was entering the arena. Besides the obvious charge hitbox, not really much else to say. He really isn't too bad, and I make quick work of Gaius by mixing strafes and well-timed dodges to kite around his attacks. After dealing with the Hog Rider, I got 5 more Scaduts and went back to face the Sunflower. By far one of the coolest ideas for a boss in all of Elden Ring. Having 3 phases can make this fight a bit of a marathon, but his low health pool does make things a bit more manageable. The music in this fight is also really good and goes to show just how amazing the soundtrack is in this game.
Yes, okay. Took all my flasks. Oh man.
Sticking to the fire damage, I progress through the Rao ruins and reach the Chapel of Kush to face off against Romaine Lettuce, and my first attempt goes just about as good as you would want it to.
Alright, Romina time. What? I thought I jumped there. Whoa. Wow. Wow, that's a run for sure.
After getting styled on, it was only right I showed her who was boss. Romina is definitely a boss in Elden Ring. I do wish we got to know more about her, like why she is here in the Land of Shadow and what her importance is to the story. While not the most difficult boss due to her low poise and telegraphed moves, I do find her a pretty fun fight on most playthroughs. Now, FromSoft does have a long history of making insect women, and while she will never be Quelaag, just hear me out. This attempt went far better, and defeating her opened up the ceiling tree. Before traveling to enter Elam, I returned to Ymir to pay our favorite cosmic entity a visit.
Okay, time for boss.
Okay, maybe we should try that again.
Wow.
On paper, Metyr is a pretty easy boss, but for every cool point she gains, she also loses one for spawning in countless ads that pester and annoy you, a terribly designed laser attack that is practically undodgeable unless using other Ash of Wars such as Raptor of the Mists, and yeah, honestly, that's it. This boss isn't that bad and is pretty fun once you understand her moveset and the way she fights. Just make sure you stay in front of her chest or else the finger crawl will come to get you. But on a serious note, what if instead of Metyr, the mother of fingers, we had Metyr, the mother of toes, and Miyazaki made the riposte animation special where you had to sniff. Okay, moving on. I mean, at least she has a cool and unique death animation where she kind of just warps away. I wonder if you actually kill her or if she just returns to the void. Very cool design choice in my opinion. With the fingers dealt with, it was only right I pursue the clinically insane sibling, the three fingers. Taking a nap in this oddly suspicious coffin, I wake up with a minor headache and no clue of where I am. Following the river down, I find a catacomb that leads to a perfectly safe and beautiful forest.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Walking, no running past those abominations, I arrive at this welcoming mansion. Being the uninvited guest I am, I parade through the house till I find the owner, and look, it's just this little old guy. How much of a problem is he really gonna— my bad. I'll be leaving now.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. All seriousness, Midra really wasn't much of a challenge on this run, and I would like to thank a cold great katana for that. Midra has such low poise that I would stagger him in like 3 heavies, and with the procs of Frost and Bleed, it was just too much for the guy to handle. Crazy that Midra has the most HP in the DLC though. I will say, I do really like this fight, and the atmosphere is so awesome that the run here is worth it on every playthrough in my opinion. Easily one of my favorite bosses out of the game.
Nice. Cool. First try. This build is kind of good, but...
With the madness quelled, I was on my way to completing the DLC. Next on the list was probably the second hardest boss that I had troubles with on this playthrough, the scaly lizard at the top of the jagged peak. See, normally Aigon makes an appearance as the glorious king he is, but for this playthrough, because his summon is locked behind a quest where Aigon gives me his finger to use, I was not allowed and therefore stuck solo. I have never faced Bayle solo, and let me tell you, I never want to again. This guy moves around so much, and when I think I have a good run going, I just get absolutely smacked into next week. Not only does he have like 15 combo strings, but each one can be changed, and he does like a third of my health bar on every hit. Yes, I am very aware that this is a skill issue, but like, Aigon just makes the fight more enjoyable. Nothing like a little trash talk, and Aigon is the king of hating, so it's only fair I let him express his hatred in every fight. Now, don't get me wrong, Bayle is easily the best dragon fight in the series. I mean, this is one of, if not the most cinematic fight I can think of, and to see this behemoth jumping and flying around is awesome. It's just that Aigon makes it that much better, in my opinion. So if I have the chance to summon, I will.
Oh my god, finally! I don't care, he's dead. Fine. God, I hate this boss so much. Aigon makes you so much better. God, this fight is awful without him. Aigon literally makes this fight so much better. Not even like Aigon like as a summon, just his voice lines make this fight so much more fun.
Alright, finally after putting down Bayle, we return once more to Shadowkeep and finish what we started. With Messmer next, I didn't really know what to expect.
Alright, time to first try him.
Of course, I have said it before, but this fight is just perfect. A duel of clashing blades in Phase 1 and a return to Primal Instinct in Phase 2. Where Phase 1 feels like a proper duel in which you must learn to dodge and kite around his spear, Phase 2 unleashes pure terror as these massive snakes come flying at you. Messmer can't bear to think he would be defeated by us, a tarnished who would be suited to become Lord. So he reaches into the depths of his soul for the Bay Serpent and abandoning Marika like she did him in a last attempt to extinguish our flame. Even his final words where he takes back calling Marika mother and instead calls her by a name signifies he ended up losing all hope in her. Thematically and mechanically, this fight is easily my favorite in all of Elden Ring.
Oh! I dodged early there. Oh god. Spoke him. Yes! Nice. Look at that. First try. Alright. It was a risky first try, but I'll take it. I mean, dude.
I guess we will never know what I was going to say because I never finished that thought. Anyways, while Messmer might have just been my favorite fight, these next two are definitely not in that same conversation. Burning the Sealing Tree, I run through Enter Elam and arrive at the very fun and enjoyable gang fight. Not really much to say that hasn't already been said. Sword go burr, Dane and Leaded dead, moving on. Oh Radahn, where do I even begin? This fight could have really been good, man. While I'm not particularly fond of the reuse of Radahn, I can see where it works for the sake of stringing together whatever story has been written so far. His phase 1 is almost perfect, just a fair skill check that with time you can get very good at. It's almost perfect because of that one move that doesn't even need to be named. You know what it is. It's his second phase where I really have a problem. Not only does he basically never stop attacking, but the amount of true combos I get locked into because I get hit once and knocked back into Miquella's light beams, which for some reason do an ungodly amount of poise damage, which staggers me and ultimately leads to my death. Obviously, I just shouldn't get hit in the first place, and I know, it's a skill issue, just let me complain. I had it so bad this fight, I went back to the base game just to get the Star Fist for a chance to actually beat it. Hey, I never said I couldn't use base game stuff, and these just so happened to be an insane weapon for this fight. Thankfully, they made a huge difference, and I could finally beat Radahn and finish this run.
Oh, finally! Finally, you're dead! Oh my god, I hate you so much!
So that's what I meant by a recurring skill issue at the beginning of the video. I used one of the best weapons out of the DLC and I was getting tossed around so much. This run was my last DLC character I had prepped, so looks like I'm getting back to basics. Let me know of any base game challenges that would be interesting to see. If you enjoyed this video, then surely you would enjoy this run where I fought all these same bosses with the added difficulty of not dodging ones. With that, have a good one.